3 years ago, a woman in Afghanistan could technically decide to run for president. Now, she may not even be able to decide when to go and buy groceries.
It's now been 3 years since the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan. Ever since then, the Taliban have controlled the country. Since the Taliban regained control, women's rights in the country are practically non-existent, and so is the idea of a free press. The economy has deteriorated in a deep-rooted recession, and more than half the people require humanitarian assistance. But these extreme conditions in the country were not mentioned in the Taliban's 3-year rule celebration. The Taliban held a massive parade at what used to be a U.S. Air Force base in the country. And as its soldiers marched with machine guns in hand, also being showcased was some of the U.S. military equipment that was abandoned during the chaotic withdrawal, including helicopters, Humvees, and tanks on display. The crowd was large. More than 10,000 men were in attendance. Women were banned from the event. Women in Afghanistan are now banished from almost all areas of public life. And if they are seen outside the home, they have to be escorted by a male. Girls can no longer go to school beyond the 6th grade, and women are banned from working most jobs. Women also must wear full-body clothing, showing only their eyes. A United Nations advocate for women says what has happened in a short 3-year span has erased any progress made.
I'm not saying that 3 years ago it was perfect. It was not perfect. But it wasn't this. We cannot leave Afghan women to fight alone. If we do, we have no moral ground to fight for women's rights anywhere else. Their fate determines the fate of women everywhere.
Because Afghanistan is suffering from such a humanitarian crisis, the United Nations has sent $3.8 billion into the country in the past 3 years. The United States being its biggest donor, $3 billion of it coming from the U.S. alone. But according to a U.S. watchdog, most of that money is taxed or diverted by the Taliban, making it hard to even track. And even though it's the U.S. lending a financial hand, over the past 3 years, it's Russia and China, U.S. adversaries, that the Taliban has cozied up to. The thing about the Taliban celebrating their rule is no other country recognizes them as the leading government body in Afghanistan. But right now, there's no opposition and no outside support for one. As wars rage in Russia, Ukraine, and the Middle East, the world has more imminent problems, and it is keeping much of the attention away from the Taliban and the people under its thumb in Afghanistan. Thanks for watching our story all the way to the end. For more news updates like this, download the Straight Arrow News app or visit us at san.com.